Hey, what's up guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Mason. Today we are going to be retouching this image I got off the internet on a website called Signature Edits. I was just looking for random raw files and I saw this and I just said, oh, this is really nice and I would like to retouch this image. So I'll put a link to the image in the description below. You guys can go download the image and retouch with me. So yeah, now the first thing I would like to do with this image is bring back a little bit of contrast. As you guys can see, the image is pretty flat, but you can tell it has a lot of richness to it. So the first thing I want to do is bring back a lot of contrast. Like I said, now we're in capture one and I just want to pull the shadows, my curves in, and pull my highlights in a little bit. Now if you can look at the top part of this image, you guys can see that part is clipping, but don't worry, we are going to just bring it back by dragging our highlights down a little bit. Now this image looks pretty dark, so the next thing I want to do is pull up my shadows, right? And maybe bring my whites down a little bit too. So let's see where we started from. This is the before and this is the after. This is exactly where this image is at right now. I really like it. I'm not going to do a lot more to it. I just wanted the image to stand out a bit before I take it to Photoshop and work on it in Photoshop. So let's see our before again and our after. So check our exposure warning, and we'll just have some little places here overexposed, and that's totally fine to edit in Photoshop. So now we are in Photoshop, and for an image like this, the first thing I want to do is probably try out my micro dodge and burn, or you know what, let's just duplicate this, right? Pick let's just pick my healing brush tool, current layer, and let's just get in and see if we can just take out some tiny blemishes that are here. So sample and clean, sample and clean, sample, clean, sample, clean. Just take out these tiny blemishes here. Okay, I don't think there is a lot to do with this image. No, there isn't much to do with this image. We are not trying to take out all her freckles. We're not trying to take out our freckles. Yeah, so don't mistake the freckles for blemishes on the skin. Okay, great. So now that we are done with this, we just took out a few. The next thing we want to do is run my complete dodge and burn actions. So I'm just going to run that and see how it looks. Doesn't look bad. There isn't so much to do right here on her face, but let's just mess around with the invert check layer and see if, yeah, there isn't so much to do on the face. Just a few things to do right here, right? Okay, now let's pick a brush, take my flow down to 1%, make sure it's a soft brush, make sure your foreground color is white because white reveals and black hides. So we're going to come down to micro dodge and burn, and we're going to go to burn, and what we're going to do is just fix some things that I can see here that's standing out a bit more than the others. So we're going to fix some of that right here. So now that I'm burning the skin, I'm going to show you guys what I am doing with my micro dodge and burn. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off my invert check layer and let's see our before and our after. You guys can see, normally with your eyes you probably not see that patch like line there, but let's see right now that I'm taking it out, you guys can see that, right? Okay, great. So I'm going to turn on my invert check layer and I will continue working on this image with my dodge and burn. Now micro dodge and burn at first seems like the hardest thing to do, but trust me, it's one of the easiest techniques for retouching. It's not as easy as frequency separation, but it is so damn easy that once you figured it out and once you know how to use it with the invert check layer, then you are good. By the way, if you want my dodge and burn actions, I have a pack called my retouching essentials pack. You guys can go get that and it will just create the actions for you. But if you're not getting the pack, all you have to do is use your curves adjustment layer to create your micro dodge and burn. And now we're going to go to dodge and I'm going to work on this. Now the way the invert check layer works is that it inverts the image. So when it inverts the image, your highlights now turn to your shadows. So you see these places that are bright, you can see with the invert check layer it's dark, right? So you now burn the dark parts. Now the good thing about this and how you know it's working is, you know what, let's just pick my dodge and just look at these places that are white patches here. Now these places that are white patches are actually shadows, right? So how you know you're working is if you dodge over this place and it gets darker, then you know that you are actually doing the right thing. If you dodge over anywhere that is bright and it gets darker, you know you're doing the right thing. If you burn over any place that is dark and it gets lighter, then you know you are doing the right thing. Yes, pretty simple. I told you, micro dodge and burn with this invert check layer. It's pretty simple, amazing way. You feel me? Okay, so we are just going to keep getting this out the way. Now obviously we do not have to do all this with an image like this, but I mean, it's fun. I love retouching. So okay, great. You know, you want to retouch an image and it stands heads and shoulders above the rest, so that when your clients see your images on your page, like your hero images, they are in love with them and they just want to work with you. Okay, great. So like I said, we're not taking out the freckles. Let's see before and after. You guys see it looks better now. Before, after, before, after. Okay, great. Let's take the bags from under the eyes out. Brush tool, and we are just going to take those out from here. I'm going to take it out from here too. Okay, great. Like I said, we don't have too much to do because the real job with an image like this is going to be in the color grading and skin toning, or probably, you know, I would say global dodge and burn. Yes, the global dodge and burn is going to do a lot of the work and make an image like this stand out. Okay, great. So let me see where I'm at right now. Let's see our before and our after, before and after. Okay, great. So it's looking nice and smooth. Before, after. I can see some things here that I don't like, so I'm just going to fix that with a bigger brush. Okay, that's our before and that's our after. Okay, great. Now that we are done with that, I don't think I have to do anything on the neck, but you know, just for consistency's sake, let me just darken some of the highlights that are there on the neck. Okay, good. Now we have done a pretty decent job with our dodge and burn, and the next thing we want to do is delete our second dodge and burn and now go to our global dodge and burn. Now with our global dodge and burn, same brush, same white foreground color, and right now all we want to do is dodge this image. So we want to create an illusion that the light's coming from here, and typically it's going to hit the forehead, it's going to hit the chin, sorry, the cheek, and it's going to hit the chin, right? So that's what light does. Then the nose too, we're going to have light on the nose. That's what light does, right? Okay, great. So right now, if you guys can see, we are creating shape on her face, right? Creating shape. Okay, nice. Just, you know. Okay, great. So that's our before, that's our after, and let's use our dodge to our burn, I mean, to create more shape on the face. Okay, great. So now we're going to zoom out. I think this is a bit too much, so I'm just going to reduce my opacity to somewhere around here. Okay, go back to my dodge and just fix some of the dark patches here. Okay, great. So let's see our before, after. So let's see where our image started, this where our image started, this the after. So right now it just seems like light's coming. This forehead still looks a little bit funky, so I'm just going to pick a black brush, take my opacity on my flow to 100% and just clean that out. It just looked funky, right? And now I'm going to pick myself a soft brush again, make sure my flow is on 3, and just go over the forehead, just make the light a bit bigger this time. And I feel like that is going to be a little bit better. Yes, it is. Okay, great. So this is our before, this is where we started from, and this is our after right now. Okay, the burn is a little bit too much too, because it's supposed to be really subtle and dreamy. Okay, great. Okay, now that we've gotten this out of the way, next thing I want to do is add some contrast to this image. So levels, adjustment, and I'm going to drag in my whites and pull in my blacks, and now I've added some contrast to this image. Right now, another way you can do this to add more contrast to your image is to use your curves adjustment layer and just like this, just create like a lot of points, and you can go with like an S curve all the way down. So I know this is a pretty shitty S curve, but I mean, does the job. So let's see our before and our after with the S curve. So let's see where we're coming from. This is our before and this is our after right now. Okay, good. We are making significant progress. It looks really contrasty right now. So the next thing we want to do is color grade this particular image, and there are two ways to go about it, or there are two different ways I color grade. Either I'm using my my LUTs, my creative color LUTs. So let's just get color lookup up and let's get my LUTs. So now my creative color LUTs, I can just mess around and look for a LUT that I think will work. Let's try 7. Looks good. Let's see, that's the before, that's the after. Looks pretty good, looks decent. You can just reduce the opacity if you want, or you can go with it that way. Let's try anyone that has the plus on it already has a lot of contrast, but we just added a lot of contrast to our image, and that's not what we're looking to do. This looks good too. It just depends on you. It depends on what you would like to go with for the LUTs, and this looks pretty good too. Okay, so now for this look, I think that what I should actually do is probably color grade from scratch, so that you guys can have a feel of how to go about this if you do not have my LUTs. But I mean, if you don't have it, you should get them. So right now, if we're going to color grade in Photoshop, what I would like to do is selective color, right? And with my reds, that's typically where the skin tones are. For this image, I can add some magenta to skin tones. Nah, that's too much, just a little bit. Add some yellows to skin tones and just make it a lot warmer, and maybe add some contrast to the skin tones. So that is where my reds come in. And I have some greens in this image too, or let's finish with the skin tones. I have yellows here, so I can add some more yellows to my skin tones, or I can drop it down depending on the look that I'm going for. Now this looks good, this looks really good. So let's just drop our yellows down a little bit. Can add some greens to this image and have it look like this, or can reduce the greens and have it look like this. Typically most of my looks go this way, but I mean, let's go this way for once, right? And just add some magentas to this, right? Okay, so let's go now down to our greens, and for our greens, let's see, maybe add some let's bring that down a little bit. Mute somewhere around here. Okay, so somewhere around here. So let's see what we've done. So this is what we've done with this image right now. Now another thing we can do is just go to our let's go to our color balance tool. Yes, a color balance tool. Let's go to our shadows, still bring that down. Let's go to our midtones. That's where our skin tones typically are, so let's just add some warmth to that. a little bit, and let's go to our highlights. In our highlights, what are we going to do? Add some more warmth to our highlights. Okay, great. So let's see where this is at right now. We'll put both of them in the group, and let's see our before and our after with our color grading. Okay, doesn't look bad, looked really good. Let's see where we started with this image. Before, after, before, after. Looks pretty good. Typically I'll go the other route, which is, you know, make the leaves a lot warmer and, you know, change the colors and go for this teal and orange look. But this time I'm not going that way. I just want to go a separate route. So now that we've gotten this image to this point, which looks really nice, what I want to do is save this image and go back to Capture One. And in Capture One, I am going to finish up my color grading and finish up my editing. Now, the reason why you can move through softwares nowadays is so that you don't have to do everything in one place. You can, you know, split your workflow around a couple different softwares. Okay, so this is where we started from, and this is where we're at right now. This is where we started from. Actually, this is where we started from, and this is where we're at right now. Okay, great. So now that I'm in Capture One, what I'm going to do is come down to my color balance in Capture One and just mess around things here, right? So with my shadows, I can decide to, you know, lighten up my shadows, which is going to give me that dreamy look. And for my midtones, I'm just going to add some contrast to my midtones right here, and maybe make my highlights pop out a little bit, right? So if I hold Option, or, you know, let's just see our before and our after, and we essentially removed a lot of the contrast that we put back in the image in the beginning. But I mean, that's the sweet thing about color grading. You can just go different routes and see where you want to go. So now here we can still mess around with our grains. We can decide to mess around with the hue of our grains and make it, you know, greener. So we can do that. You know, we can bring down the saturation of the grains, and we can also make the grains a lot lighter or a lot darker. So let's just leave this where it is, which is somewhere around 0. Okay, great. Now we can also go to the skin tones, and we can make the skin tones a little bit more saturated, and we can either make it darker or lighter. That's the sweet thing about this. And, you know, we can go to our reds too, and you know, if we want, we can add more saturations from our red, but we're not going to do that with this image. Okay, great. So we'll take that back to 0, and that looks nice. Now for our, you know, 3-way in our shadows, you can add some greens to the shadows to, you know, continue the look that you're going for, and add some warmth to the midtones and some warmth to the highlights. Okay, great. And for our master, we can decide to just add some blues to our master to just ease everything out. Okay, let's hold Option and see our before and our after. So this what came into Capture One, and this is where we're at right now. Now the next thing I want to do is add a vignette to my image, since I always do that. So elliptic on crop, that's what I typically use, and I'll add that vignette to this image. Okay, great. Still bring this image out a little bit by dragging my levels in, and okay, somewhere around here this looks good. So let's see our before and let's see our after. Before and after. Okay, great. And you know, let's see. I rarely play around with my clarity, but I mean, I don't use clarity. I'm not even going to mess around and act like I use it. The last thing I want to do is add some grains to this image, and I have done that, and that's about it. So let's see our before and after stacked side by side. You guys can see how you can just edit an image real quick, give it amazing colors, and, you know, this is just a really nice dreamy look. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give this video a thumbs up. Also check out my digital store where you can get my retouching essentials pack, my skin tone lot, my creative color lots that you can use to get a look like this without having to go through a lot of the processes that I did right now, my tropical lot, and also I have some freebies like my free frequency separation action, my free eyes and teeth whitening action, and some free lots there, plus images you can practice with. So anyways, thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing day. Peace out, guys.